back to FIT, the Truckers Finances and Investments channel. Today I wanted to talk about a subject that a lot of people don't like, and that is math. Math is everything when you're talking about trucking. That is basically the whole concept of trucking is math. Whenever you're looking at trucking, you're thinking about how long your trip is. How many miles is it? How many hours is it going to take you to get there by your appointment time? Planning your trip out, planning where you're going to stop, where you're going to eat, where you're going to sleep, where you're going to shower. All of that has to do with math. How much it's going to cost you that day to complete your duties. Just take a case in point here, and I know I'm stereotyping here, but slow down with me just for a minute and look at the overall picture of what I'm talking about. If you have a 65 mile per hour truck and you have a 75 mile per hour truck and you're wanting to get a 600 mile trip done, you're going to be a little more relaxed in that math with a 75 mile per hour truck because you'll be able to get there a little quicker. Now, I know that doesn't always hold true because you have speed limits in towns, you have construction zones, you have traffic, you have all of these other variables to come into place. But let's just say that you're leaving Las Vegas and you're headed to Dallas, Texas. It's pretty much straight interstate shot. You're going to get there a lot quicker with a 75 mile per hour truck than you will a 65 mile per hour truck, which will make your trip easier for you to complete. Trucking companies know this. Trucking companies know this. Why do you think they're trying to get speed limiters in place? It's because of two things they're wanting to put the speed limiters in place for. And really, safety is kind of way down the list here. The two main reasons they're wanting to put speed limiters in place is to make it to where corporate trucking companies are more efficient with a slower truck that gets better fuel mileage, and it is a stop or a barrier for independents and owner operators that usually have the faster trucks. It is to slow them down. It is to give the upper hand to the corporate companies. So therefore their profits increase. They can add more trucks. They can be more efficient. Meanwhile, they're putting down the owner operators and the independents. This is where this whole saying comes, we need to level the playing field. They're not wanting to level the playing field, they're wanting to put their footprint in the industry more. That's what level the playing field means. His corporate trucking companies say, we have this figured out, so we have to crush the competition. Trucking is all about math. These corporate executives that work for corporate companies, almost everyone, I guarantee you, either has a lot of experience in the company or they have business degrees and finance degrees. Why? Because that is what the company works off of. How to better the business and how to lower their operating cost and increase their profits. So they look for these people that have financial and business degrees to better their company. And I promise you, these big corporate companies are way more efficient than what they allow you to think. They are way more efficient. A small trucking company that has maybe 5-10 trucks, they don't have they may have one person in the company working for them with a business degree or a finance degree or both. A huge corporation trucking company, they try to get as many people in there as possible with these types of degrees. They will say one of the very first questions they have is, how much college experience do you have? Do you have a business or finance degree? That's what they're looking for. So, with that being said, you have hours in the day, which plays a big part in trucking. You're only allowed to run 11 hours in the day driving. You can work 14 hours in a day, but you're only allowed to drive 11 hours of that. These companies, these corporate companies, want to make these trucks as efficient as they possibly can. They want to make their drivers as efficient as they can, get the most work out of them that they can possibly get in that time. I saw a trucker on YouTube the other day. She was trying to get home for the holidays. All they would have had to do was get her a load from where she was at to where she was going and straight through. Nope, they wouldn't do that. They ran her up, down, here, there, back, forth, zigzagging here and there, bouncing around, and ended up getting her there to her destination that she wanted to be at a day later than what she wanted to be there. And then when she got off of her holiday, her truck was broke down. So everything stopped with her personally, and it was about, let's get the truck fixed, let's get the truck inspected, let's see what's wrong with the truck. It just screamed at me personally. It screamed at me, we don't care about you, we care about us. We come first, you come last. And that's a common theme that I see in trucking throughout, from the lowest person in trucking to the highest person in trucking. We come first, you come last. This is why trucking companies come up with the ELDs. The ELDs and speed limiters go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. A long time ago with trucking, truckers had this mentality: load it heavy and run it hard. Run by the scales, go around the scales, do whatever you have to do to get that load there. Put as much weight on the truck as you can, run it as fast as you can. Hurry up, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. And it was a very inefficient process. The trucks would run hard, they would break down constantly, but there was a lot of smaller companies making a lot of money off of this. Corporate trucking companies come in, stood back, took an overall picture of it, and said, what do we need to do? We need to make the trucks more efficient. We need to make them more fuel efficient. We need to make them more dependable. And we need to cut the speed down on the trucks. And we need to make it leaner, meaner, and easier for us to make profit, and harder on these people that have this load it hard and run it hard mentality. Load it heavy and run it hard mentality. So that's where ELDs come into effect. because these corporate companies run on efficiency, they run on math. They already have all of this stuff planned out. We just sit here and select which driver goes to what area. And then you started coming up with these driver managers, asset managers. You started hearing these names instead of dispatch. No, we don't have dispatch anymore because we've already got all the loads planned out. Everything is already planned out. We just need someone to get in there and initiate that load. It all has to do with math. Every bit of it has to do with math. And it starts with the corporate trucking companies now. They sit and think about how many loads we have to pull this month, how many drivers we have, how many trucks we have, and they just sit there and calculate and click about what movements they need to do and where they need to move it at to in an efficient, slow manner. As soon as you get that truck there, hit the key, shut it off, stop using fuel. Stop costing us money. Why? Because the more money they get, the more they can raise their salaries. Corporate executives will be the last person in the trucking company to get a pay cut, and they will be the first person in the trucking company to get a pay increase. Truckers will always be last. The driver themselves will always be last. Case in point, the other day, Snyder Logistics, Snyder National, bought Cowan Logistics for $390 million. $390 million. Do you know how much $390 million is? Could you imagine a pile of $100 bills stacked up? How many it would take to make $390 million? That's a lot of money. Like the old saying goes, that is a ton of money. It's probably close to a ton of money, if not more. That is a lot of money. Now I want you to think about something. How many truck drivers were made a millionaire off of that deal? How many truck drivers was made a millionaire off of that deal? And you're probably laughing and saying, none? Zero? I want you to really think about this for a minute. How many truck drivers got even a 10% increase in pay off of that? Even a 10% increase in pay. My answer would probably be none. Not a single driver got an increase in pay. Now, switch that to the corporate level. How many corporate executives were made a millionaire off of that deal? Probably one or two. Couple, maybe three or four. How many corporate executives got a 10% increase in pay off of that deal? Probably several. See what I'm saying? These corporations have it figured out. They have their business degree. They have their finance degree. They know what it takes to make money. They know what it takes to save money. And they are working as hard as they possibly can to increase the profits of that trucking company and cut down the expenses in that company and make deals that make the company bigger, more efficient, and able to make more money. This is not why I don't like corporate trucking companies. That's just the way any efficient business should run. That's not the reason I don't like corporate executives and corporate trucking companies. The reason I don't like them is because they get to this point where they don't say anymore, this is our job to make the company more efficient. This is our job to cut cost. They get in this mentality that we work so hard, we deserve it. We are going to take it from you. You deserve nothing. We deserve everything. And whenever they get to that point where they are so greedy, that's where I just walk away and I'm like, nope, we're done. We're done talking. You have crossed that barrier from being a well ran, efficient company to just evil venom and greed. All they want is money, power, and control. That's it. A long time ago, whenever I was in my early 20s, I went to work for a grocery store. I made it up to assistant manager of that store. My whole mentality about getting that job was I worked for a factory and I was wanting to get out of the dirty factory and get into more of a clean environment to work in. I didn't like all the dust and the dirt and the mask and the safety glasses and all of this stuff. I didn't want to work in that dirty, nasty manufacturing environment. I wanted to work in a clean environment, and I saw the people that worked there as nicer, easier to get along with. The people in the factory was rough and tough and hard, and it was more like piss and vinegar working with them, and the people in the grocery store was a nicer, friendlier bunch to work with. That's all I was thinking about. That's it. That's all I was thinking about. Once I got in there and started that job and I got up into management, I found out part of my job was managing employees, making sure the employees were doing their job, making sure that we were getting the most out of their labor that we were paying them. That was part of my job. The other bigger part of my job was to sell as many products out of that store as I possibly could and cut cost. My manager would tell me, I know you've probably seen managers stand around the store. They'd have their arms crossed and they're looking around and they're just chit-chatting, talking to one another. We would do that. My manager would come to me all the time, and we would just stand there in front of the registers, cross our arms, just looking around. And the conversation that we usually had was, he would say, Dave, what are we doing to increase our profits? What are we doing to cut cost? Let's stand here for a minute and just look at the store run. Look around and look at the employees, what they're doing. Look at the customers, what they're doing. Look at the floors, how bad they're scarring the floors up with the shopping carts. Look at the lights, how much it's going to cost to replace the lights when they burn out. Think of every little detail that we're looking around and seeing. What do we need to do to cut costs and increase profits? And somebody, almost every time that we would do this, somebody, either an employee would come up and say, I need time off. I've got to have off this Saturday because my kid's having a birthday. Or I need to have off Friday, I've got a doctor's appointment. The employees are always wanting something. Always wanting something. And the customers are always wanting someone to help them. And my manager would always say, whenever they come to you, when the employees come to you and they're wanting and wanting and wanting, the first thing you do is try to make a deal out of it. Don't just automatically say, oh, yeah, you can have off Saturday. Make a big deal out of it and say, well, it's going to be hard to find somebody to take your place. It's going to be hard to find somebody to pull your shift. We could let you off on Saturday, but you're going to have to work the next 4 Saturdays. And the employee was like, oh, come on now. One weekend or one day off the weekend and I'm going to have to work 4 in a row? Well, you could change your appointment or change your birthday party to a day during the week where it's slower. Well, I've got to have off Saturday. And I was like, how? And that's what he would say once we got away from the situation. Let's find out how bad they want it. Let's find out how bad they want that deal. With the customers coming in and they were wanting a product or something, wanting help finding something, the manager would always say, think about how much profit we're making off of this product. If they're wanting a can of corn, go give them the name brand corn that we make more money off of instead of the generics. Try to sell that product to them. And if you go up and you say, well, here's a name brand green bean, when they were just asking where the green beans were, well, here's the name brand, and hand it to them, put it in their cart, give it to them. And if they'd say, oh, no, I don't want that, that costs too much, then sell the product to them and say, well, there's a reason that this product is more expensive. It's so much better. That was our whole job at that retail store, was to increase profits and cut down labor. Trucking is no different. In fact, most trucking companies run on a 5% labor, a 5% profit margin. 5% profit margin. A long time ago at the grocery store when I worked there, our labor percent was at 8. We ran at an 8% labor. Now these trucking companies are running at a 5% profit margin. What do you think their labor costs are? This much. And they're wanting to cut it down even more, but increase their profits. It has become an industry of money, power, greed, and control. And you say, well, Dave, why are you talking about this? We already know this. I'm talking about this for the ones that don't know about this. There's ways that you can increase your profits. There is ways that you can get ahead of all of this. And one big thing that I can think of more than anything in this world in trucking is to stay away from these mega carrier corporate ran entities, because that's not where your money's at. That's not where your profitability is at. That's not where your better way of life in trucking is at. Because all they think about is increasing their profits and cutting their cost, and you are dead last with them. You're just a thing. That's all you are. You're just a thing. Go somewhere where you mean something to the company. Go somewhere where you are a valuable asset to that company. Work for the smaller companies to where you get out of it what you want, And it's not just about the company getting out of it what they want. I heard a guy on YouTube the other day. He worked for a big major corporate trucking company. He was talking about how great his week was going to be, getting 1,900 and some odd miles, just under 2,000 miles for the week, at 57 cents per mile. And he was going to have to be out for 9 weeks at a time. 9 weeks at a time to get this. How much money do you think that corporation is making compared to what he is making? Who's getting the better deal? It's a no-brainer situation. The corporation will always win when it comes to math, when it comes to business, when it comes to finances, when it comes to investments, when it comes to profit and loss mitigation and increasing sales and decreasing expenses. The corporations will always win. They have a whole fleet of people in their company that's their only job is to do this. That's their only job. They come in every day and start calculating and looking at numbers. What can we increase and what can we cut? And then I see guys and women too come on YouTube and promote these corporate companies so they can get a kickback themselves. And I hear so many drivers out here, oh, I just love this guy's channel. He's the greatest thing ever. He has our best interest in mind. Does he? Does he really? No, he doesn't. He's entertaining, maybe. More entertaining than me, maybe. I don't know. But he's entertaining, and he is trying to get the incentives going to where he wants you to come to work for that company so bad, but it's not in your interest that he has in mind. It's in his interest. I want what he should be saying, what's going through his mind. What he should be saying is, I want you to work for this company so bad. I want you to do this lease purchase or come to work as a company driver here so bad so I can make money off of you. That's what he's saying in his mind. That's what's running through his mind, is he don't give a flip about you, dude. He could care less about you whatsoever. He wants his money. The corporation wants their money. And they want to make it off of you. Going back to my original subject here, math means everything in trucking. Everything in trucking. The better you are at math, the more able you are to do math every day and make math a part of your job. That should be a requirement to all truck drivers, all lease purchase operators, all owner operators, all independents, every driver in trucking, your main goal should be about math. You should be doing math every single day in your job. It should be a priority to express yourself through math every day. How much money am I making? What am I getting out of this? what can I do to better myself? What can I do to better my ability to make money? How can I make myself more efficient? And with me, I want to be home. That's a big major thing for me is I want home time. Some guys don't care. Some women don't care. They'll set out on a truck 9 weeks, 3 months at a time. They don't care. Doesn't matter to them. To me, it does. I want to be home on the weekends. Today is Friday. I'm about to deliver this load, and I'm going to go home. Going to spend some time at home, get my laundry done, get my head straight, get off of the truck, get out of the wonkiness of the trucking realm, and then I'll go back into it Monday morning. But I'm going to be thinking about math. I'm going to be thinking about what I can do to save, what I can do to better myself next week, what I can do better next week than what I did this week. And keep going and going and going and going. Until someday, hopefully, with this channel and with everything that I'm talking about, with someday I can make an income and I can be in a situation where I don't have to be involved with trucking anymore. What is that called? That is called retirement. And that is my goal. What's yours? That's all I have for now. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you subscribing and commenting. And we will catch you on the next one. Thanks.